Hello, spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with the Scariest Podcast.
Woo!
I'm Robin Grace, this is Adam Diaz, and
Hello.
we're here to read you guys some homegrown horrors. Adam, why don't you tell us what those are?
Homegrown horrors are the wonderful stories that you folks have sent in to us, whether it be something horrific, scary, spooky, tragic, coincidental, hilarious because it wasn't actually any of those things but you thought it was, or true crime. We accept all stories that anyone would like to share with us, and if you let us know that you would like us to read them aloud on the podcast, we do that. Robin, if folks had a story like what I just described to send, where could they send it?
You can send them to storytime@scariest.com or go to our website, scariest.com, fill out that form, it emails it to us that way. You can also reach out to us on any of our social medias.
Indeed. So those are the different ways you can reach out to us, and if you would like to see us read those stories live, you can, like we're doing right now, which is Tuesdays, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can watch us at twitch.tv/scarishpodcast or youtube.com/scarish. We love doing these shows live. It is so much fun. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first this episode?
You can go first.
Okay, cool. The first email that we will be reading is subjected, I think that's how you say that, I know it's not, something that scared me for the first time, and then in parentheses it says, Adam is better. I'm not sure if they want me to read this, or if they're just pronouncing that I am better, but either way, I'm flattered. It starts out like this. This is going to be short, and you can read it on the podcast if you want. I finally got completely updated on the topic episodes. Huzzah! It's pretty good. Huzzah
I like
you.
huzzah.
My mom believes in spirits and ghosts, while I never did. One night, while I was in bed with the doors and windows closed, some wind swooped over my bare legs. I got shook and sat up to look around. Maybe I left a window open or something, or the AC kicked on. Nothing was out of the normal. I changed my position on the bed to where my head was where my feet would be, and I was on my stomach. About a minute later, some beads I had hanging on my doorknob started swinging back and forth, scraping the door, which scared the shit out of me.
We have a bunch of badges on our bedroom door, too.
And we hear those scrape the door every now and then.
Yeah, and whenever they make noise, I'm like, that never happens. That's really creepy.
Sometimes it's the cat playing with it, but it's very rare. The next day, I told my mom what happened. She told me that she had been asking spirits of loved ones to contact me almost every night to help guide me with what I have been going through, which was a lot and still is. I love you guys and wish I could buy your merch. I'm not well during quarantine, and I love your podcast. Malcolm. Well, we wish you could buy our merch too, just because it's nice to know that people are well off enough to afford it. But if you watch live, there's actually opportunities to win some free stickers and stuff like that. So maybe you could get a free piece of merch that way. And we're sad to hear that you're not doing well during quarantine, but I'm glad that you're well enough to write, so we know that you're doing at least okay. And as far as like asking loved ones to like see you through a tough time, I wish they could provide you better guidance than breezes on your legs and beads scraping on your doors that scare the crap out of you. But hey, it's a start, and that's a really nice thing for your mom to do. So, right on.
All right. So my email here is titled, Yes, You May Share the Story on the Podcast. All right. Makes it nice and easy. So, hello. My name is Cody, and I got some stories for you. Feel free to edit this however you need to. I may start rambling, go off on a few tangents of my own, which is totally fine because we're totally based on tangents.
We'll do the same.
I love the podcast, and I also listen to it on Spotify.
Shout out to Spotify.
I drive a semi over the road, and I really enjoy how you guys can make my 600-mile days go by in the blink of an eye.
Did you call it a semi?
Yeah, semi. Whatever.
A semi is what you call a half boner. That's why I was very confused. I was like, you're carrying that half boner really far for your
shut
job.
Up. Semi. I have a few bone-chilling stories for you guys that you may share with the rest of the Scarish community involving the family farm that I grew up on.
Awesome.
The land was acquired by my family in 1848. Holy crap, that is so long ago. By my great-great-grandpa. There is a lot of history there with its fair share of tragedy. The house was built around the original 2-bedroom cabin that was built in 1848. And if I remember correctly from what my father has told me, 5 of my ancestors died in the house alone.
When you have a house that's been in the family since 1848,
it happens.
You have to guess that some folks passed away in there.
Ghosts.
Like, especially because back then it's like, you kind of wanted to stay home if you were just too sick, you know? You'd have the doc come and check on you, and then they'd just be like, okay, well, I'll give you something for the pain or whatever.
I've been watching Ghost Adventures
I hate
in
her
the background.
so much, dude.
I just put it on because...
edit until 2:30 in the morning. I work at 8:30. I walk in the bedroom, and Zach fucking Bagels is on my television. It's like I just want to go get a sledgehammer from the garage. It just makes me... It is the ultimate betrayal.
Because I just sit there on the bed, and I'll crochet stuff, and I just want something in the background that I don't have to pay attention to. And
that's why when I crochet, I just put a picture of a piece of shit on the TV. Same exact reason. I'm kidding, I don't crochet.
You're not very talented with your hands.
That's horse shit.
What do you make? Oh, get out of here, inappropriate.
Whatever, you just insulted me.
Oh my god. You're not a creative, artistic-y person.
I'm a writer. Thank you, asshole.
Alright, anyway... great uncle died when he fell out of a tree he was taking down out in the back 40. When it says back 40, is that just like 40 acres?
Probably.
Back 40?
Probably miles.
Sadly, we no longer own the property as many other small farmers in northern Wisconsin have failed due to the agricultural decline that started in 2009. But we held out until 2015. That's so hard to deal with when it comes to agriculture, farming, and stuff like that. I know a lot of farmland keeps like shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, right?
I don't know.
You're from the Midwest.
I've never heard about that.
Anyway, this is my worst experience with the paranormal. It was the most uncomfortable I ever felt at home. My mother and I did most of the chores on our own. My dad had a massive heart attack in 2007, so he was limited to how much he could do. My mother isn't in any better shape as she has thyroid and immune system diseases, which totally sucks.
That's so sad.
But she is the toughest lady I ever knew and was bound and determined to keep the farm alive, as that was her dream. I think this happened in January of 2008, which would put me at 15 at the time. Mom had a rough day and wasn't feeling well when I got home from school, so I helped her milk the cows and told her I would feed the cows by myself. We got done milking at 8-ish, and she went up to the house to go to bed. My little brother and sister got done with their chores and went up to the house to do schoolwork and go to bed as well. I kind of gave up on school at that point as I had more important things to worry about at home. Oh, that's rough. That's really hard because you have so much responsibility. And
right, at such a young age.
Anyways, it's nighttime. I'm in the barn alone, or so I thought. Don't worry, Robin, this isn't the basement story yet. Oh, fuck.
I'm so glad there's going to be one, though.
I have the radio turned up just loud enough for some background noise. Is it Ghost Adventures? And tuned to the local pop station. I just think it's funny that I said I put stuff in the background. Anyway, I never listened to it in the barn after this night because I think that's what started this whole ordeal. I used 2 push carts to feed because the motorized feed cart we had sucked hockey dick. So when the one cart...
It's a farm. It could literally mean that.
Oh, God. So when the one cart was full, I would pull it out, push the other one under, and let it fill while I was dumping the first one. We had 60 head of cattle. That's a lot of cows. And the barn ran east and west with a row on the north and south sides. We added onto the old barn, which was built in 1933 by my great-grandparents, Vern and Eleanor. It's so cool that this place has so much history,
right.
You know? The silo room where I filled the carts was on the southeast end, so I would start feeding on the northeast end. All right. I went to go dump my first cart, and when I dumped the silage out, the radio cut out. No big deal, bad reception in the barn. It happened all the time. So I carry on with spreading out the silage and evening it out and head back to the silo room. I stopped at the radio to try a different station, but when I got there, I noticed that it hadn't lost reception. The volume knob was turned all the way down. Meh. Okay. Haha, Megan, very funny. That's my sister, and I thought it was her trying to scare me. Turned it back up and went to go grab my next cart. I swapped the carts out and went to go dump the next one. Same thing. The music stopped. I turned real quick to look, even though I knew I would have heard the door if someone was fucking with me. Nobody was there.
Uh-oh.
By this point, I'm getting a little sketched out. I spread out the silage and checked the radio on my way back again. Now, not only is it turned on, but it's also unplugged from the wall. I'm starting to feel very uneasy now. I plugged the radio back in, turned it back up, and proceeded to swap the carts again, only this time, when I dumped my cart, I just about jumped out of my skin because this time, instead of the radio getting turned down, it went back to a static channel, and I swear I didn't know that speaker could push out that loud of a sound.
That's scary.
That is the worst, because when the electricity or whatever goes out and then your TV turns back on and it's the loudest static. Oh my gosh.
I understand it when there's like
worst.
a power surge or a power outage, but when it just does it on its own, it means something's trying to speak to you through the white
God,
noise.
I cannot. Ugh. Have you watched that movie, White
Which
Noise?
one? I don't remember. What's it? Okay, who's in it? Let me put it.
I don't know who's in it.
Is it Kevin Bacon?
Is it Kevin Bacon?
Is it Michael Keaton?
It's the one where the
Michael
TVs have
Bacon?
static and then they see the hands in the static.
Oh no, I don't think I've seen that.
Okay. It's a movie. We should watch it because I've never watched it either, and I feel like we should. Especially since we do this podcast and we've seen so many horror movies, and that's just one of the big ones that actually came out in theaters.
Right.
We should totally watch. Anyway, so I ran back to the radio to turn it the fuck off because obviously the barn doesn't like that music. And when I turned around, standing in the northeast manger, I see what I assume to be my great-grandpa Vern. He died of natural causes in 93, the year after I was born, so I have no memories of him. He's standing in the manger, just observing what's going on. He looks across the barn towards me, nods his head in approval, and then walked off. He's like, what's this pop shit? Turn the shit off. Fuck this.
I like that he nodded in approval, though. Like, good work. Good work, kid.
I hastened through the rest of my feeding and then proceeded to nope the fuck back up to the house. I didn't tell my mother about it for probably 3 months. Then one night, while we were doing chores, I told her about it, and she told me that it was probably Vern, as she had seen him come and go a couple times throughout the years. That is crazy. The fact that...
I didn't mention the fact that I saw this ghost, but yeah, I've seen that ghost.
It's just, oh my goodness, like... It's just crazy. So this next one is my mother's story, not mine. She gave me permission to share it with everyone, as she has also started listening to you guys as well. Thank you. That's
Shout
very
out.
cute.
Thank you so much for listening.
This happened in 2014 when my mother got hit with depression really bad because her health started declining, and we had to come to terms that the farm was going to have to go to auction. This was a dark time for our family. I had a bit of a drug problem and distanced myself from the family. My dad and I were not on speaking terms, and my mother suffered the most from it. By this point in time, it was mainly my mother and sister doing chores. I would help when I wasn't doing dumb things, but for whatever reason, I can't recall, my mother was milking by herself. I cannot imagine milking 60 cows by myself.
Yourself. That would take so
long.
long.
Oh my God.
Dude.
It was summertime, so she didn't have to feed in the barn as they got to go out and graze after milkings. Mom would let the cows out as she milked, and she was almost done, and the barn was almost empty. She was sitting in the walkway with her back turned to the old barn when she heard someone call her name. I can't handle when it's something that's just calling you and you know there's no one that should be, you know?
Yeah, it's creepy.
She turned to look, and she said that on the east end of the barn were about a dozen shadowy figures walking in and out of the door, staring at her. A little old lady approached her and told Mom that if she was sick of being in pain and sick of living, to go with them out the door. I have chills right now, dude. And they would make it all go away. That is terrifying. If not, turn around and we will leave you be. My mother, who had been in tears all night, said that she wasn't ready to give up yet and told them to get out of her barn. They did as she asked, and my mom never saw her again. I have chills, dude. That is so creepy.
It's like you have to be fed up, too, because you're so tired from busting your ass. You're like, you know what? Fuck this supernatural stuff. I need to yell at these ghosts.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoy this. I would really appreciate it if you let me know what episode you put this in so my mother and I can listen. I'm only on episode 22, working my way up from the beginning. I have more stories from the farm that I think you'd enjoy, but I've dragged this one out long enough and need to be up early. Thanks for listening, and I hope to hear back from you. Sincerely, Cody.
Good stuff, Cody.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for sending that in.
So many good stories. It's so cool when you have a property that has so much history. And it's bound to have weird things happen.
Right.
But just because of all that history and all the energy that's been put into it, and everyone's put so much work into this thing. And I think when you struggle like that and you have hard times, it amps up that energy.
Right.
You know, I'm totally not being Zach Bagels right now. I'm just like...
You are a little bit, yeah.
Anyway, I just think that's really cool. This story totally gave me chills. Thank you so much for sending it in.
Yeah, and thank you to your mom as well for sending or allowing you to send in her story and that she started listening. We appreciate that. But awesome. So before we move into our next story, we are going to take a really quick commercial break. And we're back.
All right, so this next email that I'm going to read is titled Alien Bikers.
That's a pretty good name.
It's a pretty good name.
I am drawn in.
All right, so it goes, hi to Adam and Ryan. I'm assuming that meant Robin.
Hi.
Scarish Mom and all Omen pets. I'm Jackie. Please feel free to use this story for a good laugh, even if it isn't told on a homegrown horror episode, but you're here. Hey,
yeah,
what's up?
You're being told on a homegrown horror.
To build up some background, my best friend and I were driving out to the Texas Renaissance Festival.
We were just fucking talking about that in our chat.
If you folks want to go watch the live video, we literally just spent 10 minutes talking about the Renaissance Festival in Texas. That is absolutely hilarious.
I'm hoping that it was
my
brought
mind
up
is
by,
blown right
yeah,
now.
that's nuts. It's got to be
Yeah.
it was brought up for sure by someone in the channel, and they're the one who sent this email.
Oh my goodness.
Otherwise, it's just a random coincidence. The day the coincidence number 2 episode came out.
Holy crap.
Does it blow your fucking mind? Yeah, tell me more
God.
about these alien bikers.
All right. So we both worked there for over 10 years, and more often than not, we would drive up very late to avoid traffic. With that said, the festival grounds are in a small town with absolutely no light pollution. It is a no-fly zone. The trains may not blare their horn. There are no weather klaxons. I'm talking back roads and no lights, nada. So, long story long, we were driving in the back roads of darkness. The speed limit is a high 70 miles per hour. What? In back roads? That is terrifying.
I can confirm the person who wrote this was the person who started talking about the Texas Ren Fair in the chat. Okay, cool.
All right, so I'm blaring trashy white girl music when suddenly Amanda and I see 3 lights behind us. We share a look and ask, "You saw that light too, right?" This is the time where we start to freak out, and I'm pressing the pedal of my shitty 98 Corolla to the floor, and these lights, they stay on us. They're molding from 1 light into 2 and into 3 before joining together once more.
Holy shit.
I'm speeding, and again, they're staying on our tail. Finally, we hear a roar and scream in bloody murder as something flies up beside my car only to pass us. Our first thought was aliens and abduction, but embarrassingly, it turns out there were 3 bikers riding up behind us. That's fucking hilarious.
That's so good, dude.
We couldn't hear their engines because of trashy white music, and as they pulled around us, I pulled over and said to Amanda, "We can never tell anyone about this." Well, I lied. We're still best friends, and we share the story anytime friends bring up the paranormal. Hope this was written well enough for you to understand and gives you all a laugh. P.S. Hello to Robin's sister, too. Best regards, love, and laughter always, Jackie Valor.
That's really nice of you to say hello to Robin's sister as well. That's such a fucking funny story. I absolutely love it. That's exactly what we're talking about when we say, like, coincidental, where it's like you thought something terrifying was happening to you, but it was really just you being a little bit silly and jumping to conclusions, and that is so damn funny. I really wish that the bikers who passed you had known that you were panicking and thought it was an alien craft.
Yeah.
Because they probably would have gotten a kick out of it too. So maybe they listen to the show. Who the hell knows? So thank you so much for sending that one in. That was really good. Okay, so I'm going to move into my last and the last email of the show. And the subject is, go ahead, share it. AKA, my ooky spooky bedroom. And this one is from Vivian, who is most definitely in the chat tonight.
Hello.
So we've read 2 now from folks that are here. It starts out like this. Hi, Robin and Adam.
Hello.
I'm a long-time listener, but a first-time caller. My name is Vivian, yes, the famous Vivian with the webtoon recommendations and famous questions of the week on the live stream. For those of you who have never watched the live stream, Vivian is always here, and she always gives us a question of the week to ponder over, and then we discuss it in between stories, and it's usually very fun. You can go ahead and share this on the pod. So, for starters, I have an older sister who gets bored of life very quickly. This is important because a few years back, she wanted to switch rooms, which I found a bit odd because the room she was in was bigger than mine. But being the suck-up little sister I was, in parentheses, and I wanted a bigger room, I gladly agreed. I feel like we've had a story like this before.
Really?
Where the room was haunted that they switched into.
Yeah.
So I moved into her room, and she into mine. There was so much more space, and I finally got a loft bed, in parentheses, like a bunk bed, but no bottom bunk. It's just empty space and a desk. It was great until it wasn't. A few months after, I would hear noises like the soft thump of my already closed door being bumped gently against the door as if someone was trying to close it again, or someone was trying to lean against it. My lights would also flicker, and I would hear someone whisper my name when I'm home alone.
I just can't stand voices trying to talk to you or calling your name. It just always reminds me of that 2-sentence horror story where it was like, oh, I heard it too. You know what I mean? Where the mom is...
It's a 2-sentence story and you're abbreviating it.
Well, where the kid hears the mom calling them and then the mom pulls them into a doorway and says, I heard it too.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that story creepy. Is just so scary. And the idea of people calling out your name is just... It terrifies me.
I enjoy people calling out my name. Namely Robin. It's a joke. You know, classic horror movie shit.
What the fuck?
The craziest time was when I was making some sick beats with this bongo drum my dad gave me. One day I was just drumming my little heart out when I hit it so hard the drum fell over. Almost as soon as it fell to the floor, a small container of beads and trinkets on the other side of the room fell off of a shelf, spilling all over my carpeted floor. While the vibrations from the drum hitting the ground could have knocked the container off the shelf, it fell off in a way that appeared as if someone or something got startled by the falling drum, bumping into the bookshelf it resided on. I think it sounds like you have an invisible person living in your room. I froze for a second before racing to the beads spilled all over the carpet. Since I had suspected for some time that there was a spirit in my room, I jokingly said out loud, "The next time you're going to knock something over, try not to make such a mess." And as soon as those words left my lips, back across my bedroom next to where I was drumming, a canister of Clorox bleach wipes fell over for absolutely no reason.
That's creepy.
Frozen with fear, I kept my mouth shut after that, but couldn't help thinking to myself, I didn't mean right now. Remember, it was my sister's room. That night, at the dinner table, I blatantly declared, my bedroom is haunted, and my sister looked up from her dinner plate, stared me dead in the eyes, and with a completely straight face, she asked, "Wait, you know about that?" And then the next line is, "Bitch, the fuck?" I wanted to scream back at her, "How did you know about that?" But I refrained. I simply asked, "What do you mean?" And she said that one night she was sleeping with the door closed and was awoken by loud scratching on the door. We have 2 needy, adorable cats, so that wasn't out of the ordinary, but when she opened the door, there was no Omen baby to be found.
What's funny is that our cat totally did this yesterday.
She closed our door yesterday.
She closed the bedroom door because she likes to shove her hands under the door and try to open it, but she just pulled it closed.
It was open. I was like, what are you doing, dummy?
And she could have just pushed the gate in and opened the door, too. Did you?
Yeah, but it's a lot of things for a cat to remember. She usually just jumps over the gate because she doesn't need to worry about operating it. All right. The story continues. She shrugged it off and climbed back into her bed. This happened a few more times before she got tired of it and just left the door open. At last, she climbed into bed once more, but the scratching didn't stop. She then made peace with the fact that the scratching wouldn't stop and she wouldn't be sleeping that night. In the morning, she went down to the door, and not only was it closed, not how she left it, but there were deep, dirty scratches and marks on the top half of the wood.
What the fuck?
They almost looked like they were made by a blade of some sort.
What?
She was so scared that she decided never to mention it and ended up putting a bunch of stickers over it.
Wow.
This, of course, terrified me to my very core, mostly because after dinner, I would be retiring into that very same room.
No.
After the fear passed, curiosity replaced it, and I decided to check it out. Sure enough, I ran my fingers over the upper half of the door, and although there were layers of paint over it, I could still feel the defined grooves in the wood. I still sleep in this room, and this sort of shit still happens.
That's terrifying. I don't know how you can still sleep in it. Asshole sibling
right there, man. Like, who does that? I mean, I would, but it's rude, and I would expect to be forced to switch rooms back. So I'm shocked that you didn't do that, but I think your curiosity got the better of you on this one. It goes on. My next story is kind of short, and to be honest, I'm still not completely sure what really happened, but I do know it scared the shit out of me. Like I said, I have a loft bed, and I sleep about 2 feet from the ceiling. One night, I woke up feeling really cold, even though I was bundled up in blankets and quilts. I opened my eyes, and even though the only light source I had was from the small 25-gallon fish tank in my room, and the small dots of lights from the neighbor's porch lights from across the street shining dimly through my window curtains, I could clearly make out a pitch black sort of fog or mist hovering just inches above my head. Half asleep and a little bit dumb, I tried to reach out and grab it with my hand, but it promptly vanished. Although it could have been a dream, or maybe I was just seeing things, it felt so real, and I remember it so vividly. That is weird, but it's like when you have the fog in your eyes, sometimes you wonder whether or not you're seeing things, or like you just haven't blinked the sleep out of your eyes yet. So that's just me being a 35-year-old guy being skeptical. My last story is a doll story mixed in with a nightmare. Let's get into it. My sister is 4 years older than me. In parentheses, we always joke that I'm Sam and she's Dean from Supernatural.
Oh, I think that's adorable.
I don't think your parents would appreciate that, though.
Why?
Because they're dead in Supernatural. The parents...
Oh, gotcha.
And my grandma got her an American Girl doll when she was about 8, and I got so jealous because I was an attention-seeking 4-year-old. So, as you do as a jealous 4-year-old, I took a black pen, a blue pen, and a red Sharpie to the face of that brand new American Girl doll. I scribbled and scratched until you could barely see the shade of the doll's plastic skin. However, for some disturbing reason, she kept the doll even though I fucked up her face. She kept it on the top shelf of her closet in her old room, my current one, in case you forgot, and always kept the closet door cracked and the closet light on.
Dolls are creepy in general.
Yeah.
And having one that
has been assaulted by you?
Yes.
Like, I'm just saying, you're owed some creepy shit at this point. All right. It says, then, one dark and stormy night, which is the classic way to start any story.
Yeah.
I got scared of the lightning and thunder and set up a sleeping bag on the floor of the room. I was just drifting off to sleep when I looked up and saw the doll's pen-marked face.
What the shit?
All of a sudden, the doll was no longer in the closet.
No.
She was moving towards me slowly and whispering, "You did this to me," over and over again.
This is a nightmare. It's gotta be.
It's gotta be. I couldn't move. It was like my sleeping bag was holding me hostage. And then someone started screaming. I couldn't tell whose scream it was, but it was so loud. As the doll got closer, the scream got louder and louder until finally I realized I was the one screaming.
Wow.
Once I realized I was the one screaming, I woke up, not realizing that I had fallen asleep. The doll was back in the closet and everything was normal. But when I looked up into the previously lifeless eyes of the doll, they looked alive. And then I swear to God or whoever the fuck is up there, the demonic doll blinked. It fucking blinked.
No way.
So you know.
That's so scary.
Now I sleep in this ooky spooky bedroom. The doll is gone. The scratches are painted over. I still sleep in the loft with my head 2 feet from the ceiling. And the bongo drum remains in the corner of my room. Sorry if this was really long. You might have to split it up, but I can't wait to hear it on the podcast. Also, hi, Spooky Mom. Hope this all made sense. Love you all. Stay sweet, stay safe, and most importantly, stay scary-ish. See what I did there? Hee hee. You're a flamboyant, loyal listener from Ohio, Vivian.
Thank you so much for sending your story in. I would totally get rid of that doll, period.
I will say
but what if it came back? Just
looking over into the chat, someone said, burn it. So I think everyone kind of has the same idea of, like, get rid of the thing. You've already assaulted the doll. You've ruined its face. It'll never be the same again, so I would definitely get rid of the doll, you know?
Yeah.
If you have to burn it, burn it. If you have to throw it into, like, just wait until the garbage man comes. And just be like, hey, can you throw this in there?
But what if it comes back, like...
If it comes back, then you were doomed to begin with. Just saying. Like, that thing's just biding its time. Like, you make the first move, because maybe, just maybe, it's not powerful enough yet to, like, teleport back to your house. And if you get rid of that fucking thing, maybe you don't have to worry about it anymore. So, I do appreciate... Oh, my God. Vivian just mentioned in the chat. The problem is, I don't know where it went. Maybe your sister took it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's hope your sister took it. I would ask your sister, and if she hasn't taken it, you should probably burn the house down.
I'm getting...
Please don't actually burn your house down.
Yeah. It's just... Dolls creep me out. Big old creepy. Nope.
Dolls are absolute terrifying creatures. So.
I have a lot of plushies. I got lots of plushies. No dolls. I don't think I have a doll. Do I have a doll?
I don't know. Probably not.
No,
they're almost all stuffed animals.
Yeah, I have a lot of stuffed animals.
Or pop toys.
Pop toys. I don't consider pop toys. Well, and action figures. We do have action figures.
We have a lot of collectible figures.
Yeah.
So.
But no dolls. I don't do the dolls thing, especially the ones where their eyes can blink.
Yeah. It's just too much for me. All right. One more time. Thank you so much for sending that in. So I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who sent in their stories this week. We sincerely appreciate every time you folks share something, because whether or not it's funny or scary or deeply personal, sharing something is something you absolutely don't have to do, but you choose to. And we really do appreciate it. And if you have a story you would like to share, please email storytime@scarish.com or go to our website, scarish.com, and click on Contact Us. Fill out the form. It comes directly to us. Or you can hit us up on any of our social medias. Facebook is facebook.com/scarishpodcast. Twitter is @scarishpod. And Instagram is @scarishpodcast. We hope to hear from you wherever you are most comfortable sharing. Robin, for the folks who would like to donate to us monetarily, how can they do so?
You can head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/scarishpodcast. Those are monthly donations, whole bunch of different tiers. You still have a few days left. Oh no, it's going to be over on Friday, right?
I don't know. When's it over?
It's over at the end of the month. Friday, it'll be over, I'm pretty sure. Never mind. Let's X that out. Because once you hear this on Friday, it's not going to be there. If you're listening to it on...
As of May 31st, the coupon code will end, is what Robin's trying to say.
So get it in while you can.
The motto I live by.
Oh my God. But there will be coupon codes throughout time if you're a patron. So patreon.com/scarishpodcast. Check it out. We did some behind the scenes stuff for when we recorded our video that's going to be coming out in the near future, hopefully, that we posted to Patreon. And if you go to coffee, ko-fi.com/scarishpodcast, those are one-time donations. All the donations go to helping us keep the podcast going, support us, help us upgrade our studio setup, fun stuff. And yeah.
Right on. That's just about everything we have for Storytime number 120. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Robin, go ahead and sign us out.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.